There's some new information that for me, and one is the nano-sized chlorella. Is that a solution of chlorella that you developed, and you have any?
Yeah, there is a professor of chemistry who makes this for us. It's called matrix metals. Is the material BioPure has that,
Okay.
and it's a truly nanonized chlorella. It means chlorella gets split open to reduce in a chemical process to reduce the particle size to the 10 to the minus 9 meter. It's a very, very tiny particle size at which the chlorella becomes completely sublingually absorbable and cruises around through the system and can cross all the membranes, can cross the blood-brain barrier, and can get into the brain to mobilize the metals where they're most critically injurious to us. And,
Interesting.
So we needed that. We needed something that can slip across these terminal membranes.
So you still
Mercury is a small molecule, and you have to sort of follow it with a similarly small molecule in order to get to the places where it's hiding.
so you still use it in conjunction with the regular chlorella, though, right?
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
both
Yeah,
of them.
no, that has not changed. You absolutely need the chlorella to remove the bulk of what is mobilized in the system. And chlorella, has a fantastic profile of nutrients in it that support the methylation cycle. This is the most important part of, the glutathione production and the production of methyl donors.
Do you have
important in detoxification.
Do you have a protocol that you use now with the chlorella or the mercury disrupting agents like cilantro and some of the other ones you mentioned?
Yeah.
So
we use at night, at bedtime, we use 15 drops cilantro tincture in hot water, and again I use the BioPure cilantro because it goes through an energizing process where the right frequencies are put into the cilantro that are specific for the different metals, and it has a much stronger metal mobilizing effect that way. But it is still cilantro, so it's 15 drops cilantro in a cup of hot water, a cilantro tea. It's a recipe that's over 1,000 years old. So, there was the German nun that is also known in this country, Hildegard von Bingen. Hildegard is more known in this country for her compositions, her music compositions in Gregorian chant that she composed. But she was the first medical practitioner in Germany that wrote a materia medica in medicine, which for the first time mentions infections, it mentions toxicity, it mentions all the things that we're dealing with today. And she devised a protocol for any of these conditions. And has a wonderful, wonderful medical textbook. And one of her main treatments was 15 drops cilantro tincture in hot water at night. And so I've taken that from her, and it works fantastic. We have a German neurologist who evaluates the excretions of metals in hair, urine, and stool after giving that, and shows dramatic increases in excretion. Not so much in mercury, but in nickel, lead, cadmium, aluminum, all the things we don't want to have either. And there is an advantage of removing those metals first before the mercury. When you remove mercury together with everything else, on the way out, the mercury cross-reacts with the other metals and has a devastating synergistic effect. So we started kind of realizing that it's better to remove the metals in sequence, where you remove the mercury last and deal with the other metals first. So we do that with the cilantro, maybe for a month, and then we bring in the chlorella, and I go high with the doses. I give at least 40, 50 tablets a day of chlorella.
So this is the regular chlorella, not the nano-sized one first?
No, this is the regular chlorella.
Okay.
And then we know that for 2 weeks there's the massive excretion of mercury in the stool.
How many days do you do the large dose?
40, 50 tablets.
No, but how many days?
For at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
But in general, I keep people on it for about 3 or 4 months.
The high dose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we sort of drop back to maybe 20, 30, 25 a day for a year or so, or for lifetime. Really, I consider anybody who's not detoxing for lifetime is pretty stupid. Is not getting it.
Now, do you find that this is a safe protocol to use, or does someone need to be tested with ART to see if they can tolerate that dose of chlorella?
No, I feel it's very safe. There's certainly no harmful long-term effect. There's a small number of people that can be truly allergic to chlorella. Most of the side effects are mobilization effects. By mobilizing toxic metals on the way out, it can cause inflammation, it can cause irritation. And the treatment then is to go up with the chlorella dose to extract those metals as quick as possible. And any side effect with chlorella will stop as soon as you stop the chlorella. So rather than finding somebody like me who can test and waiting for months to get an appointment, I think it's very reasonable to start taking it and then stopping if you do have any serious side effects. So we call this a medical trial or therapeutic trial. I think it's very reasonable. It's the same like saying, well, I never had spinach in my life before. Now I want to start eating spinach. Do I need to be tested first? Of course, anybody would say, well, it's a food, and so start eating it. And if you don't tolerate it, you'll probably notice afterwards. Chlorella is absolutely a food, not a medication. And as a food, it should be tried, and if tolerated, it should be taken in high amounts.